Why the New Deal book is your must-read in a world awash in information. Over the past several years, business has become inextricably linked with policy, in Washington, in Brussels, in Beijing, like never before. That's why we're relaunching DealBook with a renewed focus on the intersection of these cross-currents, as well as a broader frame on the world of business to include technology, innovation, philanthropy and corporate governance. And yes, we're still covering the world of deals as much as ever before. You may have noticed we've been subtly experimenting with this evolution in coverage over the past couple of months. DealBook will aim to identify, curate and prioritize the most critical information, providing a trusted one-stop shop for the business and policy developments that matter. You'll also be able to read the live, updated DealBook report here. Many of you, some 300,000 plus subscribers for our newsletter alone, have been with us since the very beginning. Thank you. We would love to hear your feedback in the coming days and weeks. And if you like what you see, we'd be grateful if you recommend us to a friend or coworker. Here's a preview of the headlines to come from the conference. Dara Khosrowshahi, Uber's new CEO, will be joining us this morning in his first interview since taking the helm at Uber. Expect insight on regulations, evolving corporate culture and many other issues facing the company and the greater tech industry. We'll cover that possible investment from SoftBank, the machinations of the current board and Uber's competition with Lyft. We'll also touch on the women in Silicon Valley, the future of self-driving cars and Khosrowshahi's relationship with Travis Kalanick. Laurene Powell Jobs, the philanthropist and businesswoman, has become a force in the worlds of education and media by investing in new initiatives in schools and by buying properties like The Atlantic. We'll talk about how to transform the American educational system and the pushback against tech billionaires' attempts to reshape society. Howard Schultz, there has often been speculation about the executive chairman of Starbucks as a potential presidential candidate, so we'll speak with him about running global business in a politically divided world. Plan to hear talk of President Trump, the tax plan currently on Capitol Hill, China, and, of course, coffee. Monica bickered of Facebook, with the current scrutiny, what's life like inside this social media behemoth these days? Where does it draw the line on content? How does the company deal with terrorism? And of course, we'll talk Russia. Jack Dorsey will ask the obvious questions about Twitter, but we will also dig deep on Square, a company now bigger than Twitter, and what that means for him. We'll also talk about cryptocurrencies and find out where he stands on Bitcoin and more. A court fight over the Time Warner deal could be brutal. Reminder, Andrew will interview Mr. Stevenson of AT&T at the DealBook conference this afternoon. AT&T and Time Warner say they believe that the potential path to Justice Department approval, as DealBook first reported, either selling all of Turner Broadcasting or DirecTV, are fig leaves for the ultimate target, CNN. And they don't believe there is any possible legal basis for blocking what is broadly regarded as a vertical merger that doesn't reduce direct competition. It's a complete perversion of the guidelines of the law, one person told the FT. Justice Department officials suggest that the issue is about media consolidation, given that AT&T would be both a major content creator and a huge content distributor. There are good reasons to be skeptical of vertical integration, and most observers agree that structural remedies such as divestiture are better and more effective than behavioral remedies such as lists of conditions. John Berg, mayor of the liberal advocacy group Public Knowledge, told Politico. Democrats are in a difficult place. Many lawmakers worry about the power that a combined AT&T and Time Warner would have. But they also worry about the Justice Department being driven by a political agenda. Senator Al Franken, a Minnesota Democrat and critic of the deal, told Recode, any indication that this administration is using its power to weaken media organizations it doesn't like would be a profoundly disturbing development. Critics Corner. Jim Rutenberg of The Nit worries about what he sees as Mr. Trump's consistent stance against the news media. If Justice Department officials with legitimate concerns about the merger worry that their work will be tainted by the perception that anti-press politics are at play, there's one remedy: get the boss to zip it. Martin Peers of The Information writes of Mr. Stevenson, the telecom executive might not immediately realize it, but being forced to jettison Time Warner's Turner cable unit as a condition for buying the media company is the best thing that could happen to him. Tara LaChapelle of Bloomberg Gadfly argues that the Justice Department is right to try to slow this too. She writes, AT&T is kicking off what may be years of consolidation of power over media and wireless assets, or at the very least reshuffling of them among very powerful people.